So SmackDown women's division, it's I don't know. It's clearly they don't have as many stories going on, but I honestly think the diversity of talent on SmackDown is probably better than Raw.
I agree.
Because like Raw, you've got some really, really great competitors. I mean, Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte.
You've got 4 really, really great competitors.
Yeah, wait,
And those 4 face each other
here's the difference.
every single time.
I'm burnt out on it.
The major glaring difference is you have Total Divas and wrestlers. You have wrestlers.
To be honest,
on
the only
Raw.
one that you have left is Nikki Bella, and she's actually worked to improve herself so that she's at least close to the level of the other
I mean,
talent
she
there.
does a better STF than John Cena at this point.
She's
Not
competent.
that that's a high bar.
Yeah.
It's a pretty low bar, honestly, but she's... You compare it, like, I mean, yeah, she's still clearly the weakest link on the SmackDown women's roster. I don't think anybody's going to really try... I mean, technically, assuming Eva Marie is gone,
Yeah.
if Eva Marie's still on there, different scenario, but
Yeah.
nobody's really going to argue that Nikki Bella is better than Becky Lynch or Natalya
Yeah.
or Naomi.
The way they've been handling
or
Becky
Alexa
Lynch, you
Bliss.
might be able to make that argument lately, but
I think for every talent that they have an equal shittier talent.
I don't know.
disagree.
I think their talents are all around solid. It's just that they don't seem to have a really solid direction for them yet, and I'm sure part of it
Maurice
is
wrestle. They're having Maurice
yeah,
wrestle.
but that's because she's just attached to the Miz Cena
but
feud.
still.
Okay, so and that.
I
that's
mean,
the thing.
I honestly think that part of the problem, like the last couple of weeks anyway, with SmackDown's women's roster is that their plans kind of went out the window when Naomi got hurt.
Yeah.
Because she was supposed to be defending the title at SmackDown in the first place, not Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, well, and so Nikki Bella is probably one of the weaker links, but she hasn't really been involved in the title picture. They moved her into a side feud. She's working with John Cena, and honestly, that's been entertaining as hell.
Yeah. And the Miz.
Yeah, and you're having Maurice in the ring. Nikki and Maurice are gonna get a few basic spots. They'll get some pops for very,
Hell, it might even be less now considering that she had
the neck.
injury,
But yeah,
so.
it's gonna be a few basic things here and there just to get pops. It's mostly gonna be John Cena and Miz, and then totally John Cena's not gonna propose. I mean, that's that hasn't been
it's not
telegraphed.
happening.
Have you seen social media? It's not happening.
Nikki's not expecting it. Everybody says it's not happening, so it's totally not happening. Just like the Hardys are totally not showing up at WrestleMania, so don't even expect it.
Yeah. So it's
But then once you go beyond that, and I understand, I can get where you're coming from of like, we're going to put Maurice in the ring. Okay, that's fine, but it's not like they're going to put Maurice in the ring against, it's not an Alexa Bliss title match.
yeah, she's not wrestling any of the other, and
They're
that's
not pushing Maurice as the face of the women's division like she's
Yeah,
the top, star. So
and it's that weird thing because like if you honestly break it down with Naomi, Alexa Bliss,
Mickey James, Becky Lynch,
Natalya. You've got maybe one extra person compared to Raw, roster-wise, at this point in the title picture, but you've been managing it so much better that I'm not burnt out on really any of the pairings.
Yeah, ultimately I'm not. I was getting there.
Becky Lynch and Mickey James.
I was, and it was starting to get old.
But they wisely, they did the logic, and they blew it off in St. Paul with the best out of 3 falls.
Yep.
Which was a good way to, hey, here's a definitive winner.
I remember that show.
Yeah, it was a good show. Some people had to work and couldn't
some
be
people
there.
did, yeah.
Some people got to go see it though, and it was pretty
I had to go to the airport, actually. I didn't have to work. I had to pick my wife up.
You were there. You were there. So.
I had to work, so yeah.
But no, I think that we might be lacking stories right now in the division, but like has been said, it's due to the fact that shit went south real fast.
Yeah, you had an unexpected injury. Well, not that any injury is expected, though. There's ones you can work through and delay dealing with, and there's the ones where you have to hand over the title right after winning it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they for having that thrown in, they recovered, I think, really well. There's enough talent there, and they're doing smart things with them.
I will say that at least they're, evenly distributing the title around and not just making Charlotte a 15-time world champ.
Well, the
for
biggest problem that I have with Raw is how many times am I going to see Nia Jax squash somebody, specifically Bayley? How many
she's
times?
going to win at WrestleMania.
I mean,
She'll
they've. Oh no, yeah.
That's for a whole nother
Yeah,
discussion.
I mean, comparing the SmackDown thing to Raw is Raw honestly may have the more talented roster because Charlotte, Sasha,
I
Bayley.
think it's arguable.
I'm a pretty big Bayley mark, but like
They're at least a lot less
three
botchier.
of the 4 horsewomen are in Raw.
Yeah,
so
they're a lot
there you
less
go,
botchier than SmackDown.
Well, except for that one time. But,
Yeah.
but Fastlane was kind of a botch in and of itself. So
yeah, I mean, if you've missed Fastlane, don't bother.
You didn't miss it.
if you love extremely short title matches between Goldberg and Kevin Owens, you'll love Fastlane.
Yeah.
I missed it, and I made the mistake of going back and watching it, and I didn't miss much.
We were making the joke that you got lucky, so I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm
He
sorry
was-
that you ended up
Awfully
lucky.
ill.
I got violently ill that night, and it worked out in the better. Oh,
That
He was
noise.
busy using the trademark poop bucket. Ting.
we keep it under the table in case one of us has to go.
Well, it's when we've been hiding under there all day to make a surprise entrance.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I think that I think SmackDown will better utilize their women. The feuds will be more intelligent. Their characters are more fleshed out. It's ultimately, the thing is on Raw, the women might be more talented. It's possible. But the story is just non-existent. It's just like, everybody wants to fight with me, and Sasha Banks is a backstabber, and
Well, and like the thing is, so I'm fine with like if your story is just like, hey, they all want the title, they're gonna fight over the title. That's fine. That's all you really need for the most basic story. But the fact that you had on Raw 2 of them ping-ponging that title back and forth between pay-per-views for way too long, to the point where like guys said,
Well, it was-
Charlotte would already be like a five-time. Yeah.
it wasn't between pay-per-view. It was pay-per-view, Charlotte gets the title. Raw, Sasha Banks wins it.
Yeah.
The next pay-per-view, Charlotte gets the
Yeah.
title back. And don't get me wrong, some of those matches were really good. And this is coming from me, and I'm not a fan of women's wrestling. It's not that I don't
You're
think.
coming around now.
Well, I think that they have the potential. However, there was too many times where it wasn't fun to watch.
Well, it's the weird thing where like WWE would in the past had kind of committed to it at various times, and then either due to circumstances like their women's champion dropping the title in the garbage on another promotion's show, or just the fact that your talented roster consists of about 3 people and then 2 of them retire.
And then you decided to focus on looks over talent.
Come on, Johnny Ace knows what he likes, and what he likes is shitty wrestling with
I was talking about Kevin Dunn, actually. The man who's really in charge. Let's be honest here.
Johnny Ace was in charge of talent acquisition
Wow.
and the Divas search.
My biggest issue on Raw is not
Great idea.
so much the ping-ponging that was going on. It's that when you finally decided to give the belt to somebody else, you have worked above and beyond to try to make her look like the weakest champion
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
that she could possibly be.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like as said, huge Bayley mark. She has looked pretty pathetic as the champ.
Yeah,
like,
losing constantly to Nia Jax.
losing to Nia Jax. The fact that she only
She's the one that she was the one that ate both pinfalls to guarantee that the 2 people that were in the now fatal 4-way got into the fatal 4-way.
yeah, and just like even
And let's talk about that no DQ match where nobody came out to stop it from being a fatal 4-way, which
Yeah.
was logical.
yeah, that was bad. I mean, the fact that even hell, that was the Fastlane match where you could have had Charlotte's undefeated streak continue on to WrestleMania while still keeping the belt on Bayley, because Sasha clearly hit her inside of the ref in a match that it should have been a DQ. So like and that's the weird thing with that no DQ match. Like one, it made more sense for Charlotte or Sasha to come out to end it so that Nia Jax doesn't get added. I mean, now that it's an elimination, it doesn't really matter, but it wasn't at that point. So the match where it would have made sense and they would have had no trouble doing it, they don't come out. But before that, Sasha's been coming out in every match and interfering. Like, it hurts my brain.
Yeah, and to me, it's since the brand split, the bar has raised.
Yeah.
I may be still a bit jaded from pre-brand split of just like, it looked like me and Guy were getting in the ring and we were gonna have a wrestling match because everything was telegraphed. They were very obviously discussing the flow of the match. There was poor selling. There was so many botches and I can only watch that for so long, and it would be the same in men's wrestling. If when there's guys who are just botch fests, I'm not gonna watch them.
Well, and it's one of those things, like, I like the technical skill. They're good in the ring together. The big thing is, like, and part of me is still just happy that it's not, the matches are going more than 3 minutes, and there's actually
evening gown matches.
Yeah, and there's people who can actually do wrestling moves.
Yeah,
like
there's no twin magic involved.
Yeah, like I'm still, part of me is still just ecstatic that that's going on. But it's like, you look at what SmackDown is doing with arguably a less talented women's roster.
Yeah.
And then you look at Raw, where they've got an extra hour of programming and they're still somehow not doing it.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
You look at the amount of wrestling on any of the shows, you're frequently getting the same number of minutes of actual matches on Raw as you do on SmackDown, a show that is an hour shorter. That shouldn't be happening. You have all the time in the world to actually give the occasional match a room to breathe.
Well, you got to take at least a half an hour for Goldberg to walk out.
Well, he's going to bash his head against the locker and give himself
Yeah.
You also have to factor in the half hour of Roman Reigns napping in the corner in the middle of the match.
But Goldberg's got to walk from, the hotel down the highway. He's got to walk from there all the way out to the ring.
I just realized that explains why he didn't get back in time for that match back on Nitro from the police station across the street because of his walking pace. He just couldn't make it.
We had to wait for security to get there to start leading him.
Oh, yes.
He carries a huge entourage. But no, I mean, overall, the women's divisions are looking much better than they have in any time in recent memory. It definitely seems like WWE is actually committed to it. They've had over a year of sustained push on the division. They just today announced a women's tournament for the summer.
Yep.
Which, if it does anything like the Cruiserweight Classic, that means you're going to actually be able to bring in some more talent into the division, both in NXT and on the main roster, which...
It all starts in NXT.
Yeah, no.
They started the revolution again.
Yeah, it's all positives. My complaints about the current storyline are quibbles, really. The writing for it getting better is there. The talent is there. It's just a matter of continuing to give it a push, which they're doing, and I have hope that it's going to keep getting better.